I'm so excited to see Jimmy back in action. I wonder if he's going to be really excited and saying whatever he wants, or if he's going to be filtered. I'm just hoping to hear the truth from Jimmy's mouth, whatever that truth is.
We're all human at the end of the day, and nobody should be canceled for expressing their views.
As a comic, freedom of speech is like our biggest outlet, you know? And as an artist, we shouldn't be silenced for speaking our truth. Even if we're making fun of things that people are too sensitive to talk about, that's our job.
Answer questions at this point, which creators will qualify and what is the criteria here?
All right, interesting, Angela. Thank you so much. Jimmy Kimmel back on ABC, returning to his show last night. ABC says the decision to re-air Jimmy Kimmel Live came after, quote, thoughtful conversations with him. Here's what he had to say last night on his show.
You understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset.
Kimmel's show was suspended last week for his controversial false comments about the assassination of Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk. Our parent company, Sinclair Broadcast Group, did not air this episode, and for the time being, Sinclair will fill the time slot with news programming.
CNN's Harry Enton is here to run the numbers for us. Like, at this point, I don't think we have the ratings for TV numbers.
No.
But you've been looking online and...
Huge, absolutely huge. What are we talking about here? Well, let's take a look at YouTube views, Jimmy Kimmel Live video views. The 6-month median, the median video only gets 240,000. Look how many views Tuesday night's monologue already has. 6.7 million. That's over 25 times as large as the median Jimmy Kimmel video normally gets. And I was looking, it is by far the largest video in at least 6 months. So if Donald Trump's idea was to give Jimmy Kimmel more press and more viewership, he absolutely did so. Of course, I don't think that is what Donald Trump intended to do.
Do you have any sense beyond YouTube of just how big his appeal may have been? Like, a lot of people wanted to clearly watch this from all facets of, not just in America, but you know, this is from around the world.
That's exactly right. So we got this 6.7 million. I will note that that number is up already about 700,000 from the last time I checked, which was about an hour ago. But take a look here. Record high Google searches last night for what time is Jimmy Kimmel on? You wouldn't have to check what time Jimmy Kimmel was on if you were a regular viewer. The reason that people were checking what time Jimmy Kimmel was on, because he was potentially pulling in a lot of viewers who normally didn't watch. And get this, it was up over 10,000%. My goodness gracious. This, of course, dates all the way back since 2004, basically since Jimmy Kimmel was first on the air. So no, it was not just on YouTube. There was a ton of interest, what we're talking about nationwide, worldwide, in terms of what time was Jimmy Kimmel on, because I don't normally watch him, but maybe I want to take a gander because maybe I'm interested to hear what he has to say.
Jimmy Kimmel himself sort of said, look, when Disney did this, I went to them, I didn't like it, but he also said thank you to Disney for keeping his show on. Is there any indication that Disney has something to be happy for? He even plugged, go to Disney Plus, here's how to, you know, as a joke, but here's how to like re-up your subscription.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people, especially on the left, who are upset at Disney for suspending Jimmy Kimmel, and we saw Google searches last week for boycotting Disney and canceling Disney Plus go way up. But take a look here. Google searches versus last week's peak. Boycotting Disney, down about 75% as of last night. How about cancel Disney Plus? Down about 75% from its peak. So the bottom line is this was great for Jimmy Kimmel in terms of what we see so far on YouTube. It's probably going to translate to the ratings. And also Jimmy Kimmel's return is good for Disney because all of a sudden people aren't so interested in boycotting them or canceling their Disney Plus subscription. So it ends up being pretty decent for Disney's bottom line, bringing Jimmy Kimmel back to the stage.
Disney has asked me to read the following statement. To reactivate your Disney Plus and Hulu account.
We also got a new motto at the FCC. Sticks and stones may break your bones.
And?
Is that giving the bully your lunch money doesn't make him go away. The only phrase that can genuinely make a weak bully go away, and that is, F you make me.
That our long national late nightmare is over. Plus, now that Jimmy's not being canceled, I get to enjoy this again.
You asked Americans if the president should be dictating what TV hosts can and can't say. You'd get about 3% positive and
97% negative.
But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it. I still do. I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. They know how lucky we are here. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. One thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American.
I forgive him.
If you believe in the teachings of Jesus as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply.
The president waited more than a day to weigh in on Disney's decision to bring Kimmel back, which was kind of a conspicuous silence. He waited until an hour before this show aired, essentially trying to preempt whatever Kimmel was going to say. And the president's message was one both of disbelief, but also intimidation. And just to take it piece by piece, the president saying the White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. So the president saying there for the first time that the White House was somehow involved in these discussions about ABC and suggesting that they were told something completely different from what Disney was saying publicly, which was that this was a suspension. Now, the president goes on to write, he is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC on this. Let's see how we do. And then pointing to the $16 million settlement that he received from ABC in their defamation lawsuit last year.